than the average income growth was in the country as a whole. So those people that were, I don't want to say talented, the people that were in jobs that required specific skills that you had to find. In other words, if you needed a welder right now, how many people do you know that are TIG welders or MIG welders or even acetylene gas, welders? Not that many. So if there's a construction project going on in Buffalo and you need 30 welders, you may not be able to find 30 welders in Buffalo. You may have to do a regional search to find 30 welders. Those welders are going to ask for more money. If they know they're in demand, they're going to say, well, you can't give me $30 an hour. You got to give me $50 an hour, and so on, right? So what happens is you had a lot of wage growth for the population of people who were making more than $142,000 a year, but the population of people that were making $20, $30, $40, $50, $60,000 a year, their wages were not growing that much. Their wages over the course of the last 10 years probably haven't grown more than 3 or 4%. But those people that had wages above $142,000, their wages have grown 8, 10, 12, 15, some 20%. So the result of that is where the dollars are to tax for Social Security, those dollars were accumulating in people in higher incomes, but those people were not paying any taxes on that higher income that they were earning. So you got all these people that are aging into Social Security. I grabbed something out, I think it was Wikipedia, that indicated that the baby boomer population are those people that were born between 1946 and 1964, so that 18-year period. Because that population, remember, during the course of the run-up to the war, World War II and Korea, and the duration of the war, and then people coming back home after the end of the war, you had people getting married before, they went to war, had a baby or so, a couple twins, along the way, and then you had people who during the course of the war, they came home because they served out, whatever their term of duty was, and they got married, and they had kids. Then you had all of the people who didn't have kids, hadn't gotten married. Now they're 23, 24, 25 years old.
Right.
They come out of the war and they say, "Listen, I'm ready now. I got GI benefits. I can go to school. I can buy a house. I can get a small business loan.
Yes, sir.
I'm an eligible person, right? So all of these people flood into the marriage market, the baby market, and all of a sudden you get all of these kids that are born to that population. That's what they call the baby boomer population.
Yeah.
You just see this big surge in kids being born.
Who was it? Wait, just real quick. Just want to ask, who was it after baby boomer?
Who was it after?
What's the next?
That's the Generation X or something like that. They call them another names they had for these kids.
I think I'm in Generation X.
I think you probably are Generation X.
Yeah.
In fact, is that an X you got on your chest?
Yeah, I wear it under my shirt.
There you go.
X-Men.
Right. So exactly. So what happens is, as we get into the 1990s and the early 2000s, we find that the population growth rate has diminished. Today, we barely birth enough people to make up for the people that die day to day. For every one child every one person that dies, you have one person being born every day. As I understand the math on this, you need to have somewhere between 1.2 and 1.4 kids being born to every woman who is in child-rearing age or childbirthing age. You need to have 1.2 to 1.4 children for every one of those women in order to have enough growth in the population that you could make up for the Social Security. In other words, people that are paying into Social Security now are the people that are working right now. As people move into Social Security and stop working, then they start benefiting, and then they start dying. The people that are working today, they're paying taxes into the Social Security Trust Fund, but if you have a huge bunching of those people going in, but you don't have another bunch like that following them. The bunch that goes in now is going to cost you a lot. That this 18-year bunch of money of people right now, they're going to cost you a lot more money, and you're going to have a lot less money going into the system because there are fewer people being born to replace them and pay money out of their wages into the system for those people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the conundrum, that we are in. And so one way to solve the conundrum is, according to the report that I'm looking at, you could close 90% of the gap by just taxing all earned income. But that means those people making $400,000 a year who wind up paying another 1.5% in taxes, their mouths would be poked out. Their jaws would be poked out. They'd be talking about, I'm an evangelical Christian. I don't believe in paying any extra taxes, or whatever it is they claim they believe. This is the story that we're in right now.
Right. Well, Mr. Hare, it seems to be the most logical solution. And when you really look at it and you kind of break it down, it goes back to the way Clinton balanced the budget back during his time frame when he was president.
And another way that you could address the problem, you have some things that have been treated as if they're fringe benefits. That's the way we look at them. Mm-hmm. But in reality, they're functionally income. In other words, if it's a cost that you would have incurred, an expense rather, that you would have incurred, independent of whether or not you worked for employer A or employer B or whatever you're doing in your life, you still had to pay for this expense. Then the money that you get to pay that expense is income, right? So when you get health insurance, your health insurance is functionally income that's being paid to you, but it's not treated as income. You don't pay any taxes on your health insurance, right?
Right.
And now you do pay taxes on your disability insurance. You pay taxes on your workers' compensation insurance. You pay taxes on your disability insurance, right? Because that stuff, those are withholdings that come out of your check. But when you pay your taxes, they don't say, oh, let me know about how much money you pay for disability. They don't say that because you can't deduct this disability, from your wages.
Let me just say one thing: being a veteran, we don't pay taxes on health care or any of that stuff.
And you're part of the problem.
But Mr. Hare,
Willie, help me out.
Mr.
Now.
Hare, don't do it.
No. I kind of, you know what? They fought for our country. I give, if anybody should
Will,
be given.
Thanks, Will.
Anybody, they should.
That's called the bus rolling over.
No, but in my heart, military. Our military people. What's up with my mic here? Our military people should be good. It must be this. Military people should be good. You guys can hear me good?
You know what? Greg said that function that you're trying to do right now,
yeah.
it doesn't work. So it'll be working on Friday, but it's not working right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna make it work, but.
I get your point. I'm just trying to say to you that to solve the problem.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
So independent of what everybody's ideology is, I know everybody here doesn't want to pay taxes. They want to get a diamond ring for free, and all that. I get that, and that's all cool. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, if we don't do something about this shortfall in Social Security in 11 years, this shortfall is going to cut the benefits that people are getting from Social Security by 25%.
Well, I know next month, Mr. Hare, I'm getting my Social Security.
So you better get it now, right?
Yeah, I got a letter just the other day, and I'm getting mine. I'm not playing around. Getting it now.
Yeah,
that's why he went to the Dominican Republic now.
No, that wasn't why, but I'll be probably going more when I get it.
He's trying to go while he's solvent,
Yeah. Well, everything working good, baby.
But this is the reality. So all I'm saying is that we have to think this thing out. If you taxed just the fringe benefit of health insurance, if you paid a FICA tax on that benefit, that by itself would solve, if I'm not mistaken, pretty close to 40% of the problem. So you could solve the problem outright by just taxing the 7.7% on all earned income, period. That would solve the problem. You wouldn't even have the problem anymore. But of course, your mouth would be poked out because you don't want to pay that extra 1.5% in taxes.
Wow.
Now, for those of you that have employer-paid insurance, you can pick up 40% of that problem. You could close that gap, 40% of the gap. You could close it if you just taxed health insurance benefits. But I'm pretty sure a lot of you are going to complain about that. No, that's a fringe benefit, and I earned it. You earned your wages too. You pay taxes on your wages. You pay taxes on your. Well, that's another story. I'm just trying to help us understand. The other thing that you can do is you can increase the rate of taxes. Instead of taxing Social Security at 6.2% of your wages, you could tax Social Security at 7.7% of your wages. If you did that, you would completely wipe out the deficit, the shortfall in Social Security. We would not be having a gap funding issue right now. I ask this question: who among us is so selfish that you are not willing to pay the 1.5% increase in Social Security tax to ensure that every American has the ability to stand up and not die because of lack of basic income?
Right. Absolutely.
How can you not stand up for that?
Absolutely. I almost feel like God has put us all here for a purpose, and we all should help a little bit. Everybody.
At minimum, if we're a country, at minimum, we should ensure our borders are safe, and we should ensure that people are safe from dying for lack of money.
Somebody on Facebook agrees with you, Mr. Hill.
I hope so. I hope that there's 33 million other people joining that listener saying the same thing. What is wrong with you? How can you not fight for each other? If you don't like me, then go be on your side of town, but still get the 1.5% taxes so that all of us are going to get our Social Security benefits when that time comes.
Right.
If you live in the United States, we consider this to be the best country in the world. We should live together and fall together. And when it comes down to that, that means everybody, regardless of how much of a bite of the bullet you got to take, you got to do what you got to do in order to make sure everything runs smoothly.
Well, Norm and Mr. Here, I got to say, after when you go to travel, you do realize that United States is a great country. I mean, even with all the downfalls.
You got the long straw. You know how they draw? Whoever draws gets, the benefit and whatnot.
Great country.
You got the long straw.
Got the long straw.
You got born in the United States.
Yeah.
You could have been born anyplace else.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I mean that goes to Canada too, because Canada got cold, right?
Yeah.
Right.
They got a lot of what we have in the United States. There's nothing wrong with Canada,
right?
But it is cold.
Canada's nice, but all the people have health care though. In Canada, is their health care situation is
well, you and your other Americans, y'all say that when we talk about who's got a nice country, but when it comes down to actually paying for national health insurance, you don't want to pay. And Norm, you didn't want to pay either.
Mr. Hare, I'm more than willing to.
Oh, see, he's changed now.
I'm not Mr. Hare.
See, when his knees started hurting, Willie, when his knees started hurting, he had those stretched ligaments in his knees, had that inflammation, in his knees and whatnot. All of a sudden, he's a fan of
Mr.
national health insurance.
Don't do me like that, Mr. Hare.
Listen, I know I've talked a little bit longer than we should have. Let's take a quick break.
Yeah, good idea.
Let's take a quick break and take care of our sponsors. Please don't go away. We will see you on the other side of the break here at Living for the People at 91.3 FM WBNY.
WBNY is proud to present Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman.
Welcome to Democracy Now!
Award-winning investigative journalism.
Is the NRA imploding?
Providing relevant analysis that makes you think.
Secret State Department documents, including evidence of U.S. war crimes.
Fact-finding reports you will not hear elsewhere. Democracy Now! Airs Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. on 91.3 FM, WBNY, Buffalo. Ready for radio that's challenging, innovative, and encouraging? Tune in, Living for the People.
This is L. Nathan Hare. Join me right here, 91.3 FM WBNY. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. after Amy Goodman's Democracy Now! We'll provide objective analysis regarding current issues. Call 878-5104. It's Living for the People on 91.3 FM WBNY. All right, welcome back to Living for the People. This is L. Nathan Hare, your host. We're here with Norm McCarter, who's our in-studio audience of one. Welcome, Norm.
Thank you, Mr. Hare.
I see Greg goes over there just beyond. He's on his cell phone. All right. Greg is the engineer that sets everything up and keeps us in shape to run this operation. Thanks again, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
And of course, we're here with Willie H., who does the live streaming of the program. He's the one that connects you to all of these different media platforms that we're on. Thank you, Willie.
Hey, guys, thank you. It's good to be back. Like I say, the U.S. is a great country. I mean, we got a lot of bad stuff, but the U.S. is a great country. But call in live, y'all, 716-878-5104.
And however you feel about your country, however you feel about the United States, let's at least feel at minimum that we care enough about each other to keep ourselves from being attacked by other people and to keep ourselves from being attacked from lack of income.
Yeah.
Let's just make sure we get that done. Let's not recreate the same situation that my father teaches me about, that people literally dying on their stoops, dying in hallways, people being found, in their apartments, bodies stiff because they've been dead for 3 or 4 days. Nobody, they have nobody around them. Do you know how many people are lonely in this country? Yeah. That's another story altogether, right? Yeah. But I can't go down that.
Especially this season too, Mr. Hare. This season,
right?
Christmas.
Exactly. And we really have to become more accountable for each other. I mean, that's all we got, right?
Yeah.
We got each other.
That's right.
Right. So since we got each other, we share the same borders, we share the same air, we share the same water, we share the same food. Let's act like we understand that and be accommodating and cooperating with each other and support each other's existence. Do we have a caller hanging on there?
Yeah, we got a caller.
Let me grab that call real quick. Hi, caller. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, great. How you doing out there?
Pretty good.
So what's your thought?
I wanted to comment on the Social Security thing.
Sure.
You're talking about raising taxes as the main way to solve it, but increasing the population is the way we've been solving it for a long time.
Oh, wow. Did I know that?
Part of the problem, part of the problem is not as many kids, but also we're shutting down the borders and not letting anybody immigrate in.
Yeah.
We let those people immigrate in, they're going to be paying into that Social Security.
And remember, those immigrants would pay in and wouldn't get any benefits because they're not eligible for Social Security benefits yet. They pay FICA taxes on all of the wages that they get paid, but they can't reap any of the benefits until they become citizens of the United States.
I did not know that either.
Not until they become citizens, exactly.
Right.
Until they're, and most of them are going to eventually do that. But that's how we need to solve the problem. That's going to help with inflation and labor issues too.
Wow.
And see, the bigger thing of what our caller is speaking to, we have learned over the past 4 or 5 years that the United States has shrunk its replacement rate, the number of people that are born in relation to the number of people that die day to day. We actually are barely producing enough kids to make up for the number of people that die every day. So we're actually on a negative track. Wow. We're going to end up losing population. Instead of having 331 million people, the next time we do this census, it may be 325 million people. And that 6 million people that we're losing, that means you're not getting those Social Security taxes from those people working. So you're going to have this bubble of people from 1946 to 1964 and their kids. You're going to have that bubble of people that are going to be getting benefits right now, right? I mean, that bubble, the last of that bubble turns 65 in 2030, literally 6 years from now. They turn 65 in 2030. That population of people is what's costing you your money right now. And the people that, as caller was just speaking to, it's the people that are still paying into the system who are putting in the money that pays for those people that are now beneficiaries of the system. You're going to have fewer beneficiaries in 20 or so or 30 years because the population bubble is shrinking, over that time. So, that's a great observation, Colin.
Well, that was great. Yeah.
Did you have any other thoughts on that? I mean, I personally, I'm the kind of person that likes to solve problems directly. You know what I mean? I know that there are roundabout ways we can solve the problem. It takes you 18, 20 years to fix it, but I'm not that guy. I try to figure out what's the problem that I have and what can I do to solve that problem right now. Yeah. And so the problem that I have is we don't have enough money going into the system to pay for the money that's going out of the system to pay benefits.
Which tells me that they really don't care because they're trying to shut people out. They're trying to control birth control.
Thank you, Willie. It means somebody is lying to us.
Somebody they're acting
like they care, but they're not doing what you need to do in order to solve the problem.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I asked the same question I asked a moment ago. If it costs an additional 1.5% tax rate on all earned income, if that's what needed to be done to completely solve the problem and never have to worry about this problem again, if that's what it takes, who in the United States is unwilling to do that? That 1.5% increase in your tax rate, who is not willing to do that to protect the Social Security and the Medicare Trust Fund?
Right.
Yeah.
And I just think that's the core question.
And let me just chime in real quick, Mr. And when you really look at it, that 1.5% is a smallish amount that, to be totally honest, it would even be hard to notice even from the poorer portion of the people that you know
barely,
what I mean?
I worked out the numbers. It works out on average. If you were to apply this to people's personal income, if you're making $10,000 a year, 10% of that would be $1,000. $100 would be 1% of that. So 1.5%, you're talking about $150 for every $10,000 that you earn. So if you earn $40,000 a year, then you're talking about $600 a year. That's $50 a month. You're telling me that you're not willing to pay another $12.50 a week to ensure that everybody in this country has a secure retirement, has secure Medicare, secure Social Security. You're not willing to do that?
It's a very small amount.
How can you even call yourself an American? How can you call yourself a citizen if you're not willing to stand up, for each other in that way?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Hare, for the normal people, I'm just going to say most people, the 80%.
Did we lose our caller, by the way?
Oh, yeah, I think they hung up. They was probably working or something because he just want to make a quick comment. But when I talk to people, most of the people I talk to, which are regular people, they don't agree with what's going on with a lot of the big politicians and that 1%. So what that tells me and what the caller just presented was, hold up, what is really going on here? And like you said, they're lying to us because most of us, I think most of the people wouldn't have a problem paying that 12.13 a week. Most of us wouldn't have we could solve problems.
Think about what they keep saying to us. The problem is that we're paying too many benefits out to these Social Security retirees. Mm-hmm. So the solution is to reduce the benefits that you pay to people who spent their entire lives paying for the benefit.
Right.
I tell you, I started paying into this system in 1959.
Right.
It is now 2023.
Right.
I have put 64 years of payments into this system.
I hope you're getting it, Mr. Hare. I hope you get it.
I get mine.
Oh, good. Thank God.
I get the highest end that you can get.
Thank God.
Right?
Thank God.
But my point is, how do you think I would feel if you came to me a month from now and said, Nate, we love you, appreciate you throwing all that money on the table and whatnot, but I'm only going to give you $2,000 a month rather than $4,000 a month.
Mm.
How do you think I'd feel about that?
Mm.
You think I might not come see you?
Yeah.
Mister, we know you ain't going for that.
That would get real raw, right? I mean, but that's what you're really saying to people, that you want to marginalize the benefits when the simplest solution is to do what you should have been doing in the first place. Mm-hmm. You should have taxed all income, earned income in the first place. You're giving a free ride to those people that are the higher income earners. Why do you always give a free ride to the high income people and never give a break to the lower income people? That's just wrong, right? On the face of it. But my point is that there are ways to solve the problem. You could mix up different parts of the solution scenarios that I'm giving you. You could solve part of it by increasing the tax rate. You can solve part of it by increasing the amount of money, the amount of wages that you will tax. You can solve part of it by taxing fringe benefits like health insurance. What I'm saying is that you can solve this problem right now. We can have a solution on the table by the end of the day today and fix the problem so we never have to worry about this problem again. That's what should be being done right now, and it's not being done.
Mr. Hare, now that we're talking about it, you know what and there's always been that, of course, self-interest, everybody, but it's that privilege and that supremacy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they don't want other people coming in the country, because they want to build and maybe even with the birth control type of deal, so that their people can grow. Their people can have supremacy. Their people stay the majority. That's the only thing that kind of makes sense.
None of it makes any
I know
sense
none of them,
to me,
but
right?
that makes closer sense to me. That's why all of this stuff is going on.
My father was an old player, and one of the things he used to always teach me was money counts itself. If you got a money problem, start recounting your money, because you can't have a money problem. The money got to be somewhere. Money don't disappear.
That's right.
It may move from this table to that table, but the money don't disappear.
Right.
So all you need to do is just sit down and look at, where did the money go? Where is the money? And then ask yourself, is the money where it's supposed to be? If it's not where it's supposed to be, take the money from where it shouldn't be and put the money back where the money should be.
Right.
This is not that hard a problem to solve.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why are we hiring people that are so dense that they can't? We hire people to be presidents of the country that are so dense they can't figure their way out of the wilderness. There are ways out of the wilderness. There's plenty of light. Follow the light. You know, what was it, poltergeist? Follow the light. You know?
Poltergeist. Yeah.
Find the way out of the wilderness. That's what the light is for. It tells you the way out of the wilderness. Follow the light.
Follow the light.
So anyway, let me quickly, before we wrap up today, I need to talk a little bit about
15 minutes.
Yeah, talk about your cousin, the presidential imposter, Donald Trump. You know, finally, a judge has said what we've always known to be true. You are not above the law. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of immunities you think you have. You cannot be immune from the consequences of you committing vile crimes against American people. You can't be immune from that. I don't care what party you're in. I don't care what your Christian evangelist, affiliations are.
Wow.
None of that make you immune from committing crimes against the people of the United States. So Joyce Vance, you might remember her. She's, one of those people that you hear on MSNBC, these legal analysts. She's a former prosecutor. She says that Judge Tanya Chutkan has ruled that Trump, like any other person, this is a quote, in the United States can be investigated, indicted, prosecuted, convicted, and face punishment for any of his criminal acts. She goes on to say that this seems to be the real kind of hard line that Trump may not want to hear and his lawyers hope would somehow be bargained away in Georgia, with the idea that they're going to delay this case in Georgia that's being tried by District Attorney Willis, Fani Willis. They want to delay that case until after the presidential election in November, on the gamble that Trump is going to win that election,
and then you can't touch him.
to pardon himself.
Right.
Boy.
And she says all that past speculation that Trump can't possibly go to prison as a former president because it would be so difficult for the Secret Service to handle it. She says that the federal prison system has provisions for people who are special criminals.
Yeah.
They got jails for got jails for special people.
Mr. Hare, I've said it all the time, and I like I say, I felt like due to the fact that he's been accused and he's been convicted of these crimes. And now
he hasn't been convicted yet. He's been convicted in my mind, but he hasn't been convicted in court yet.
Well, yeah,
right.
But I'm saying what was said. These was your words.
Mm-hmm.
You said he wouldn't go to jail, and I'm like, Mr. Hare, he's got to go to jail. I
know. It was. I had weak faith. I needed to have more faith
Mr. Hare,
I still need to be proven that he's going to go to jail.
Me too, Mr. Hare.
If he's convicted of the crimes, how could he not?
Do the time. How can he not do the time? You're absolutely right. That's how can you do the things that this man has done and not do the time? Not just him. I think his kids, at least the two boys, have some issues. I'm pretty sure that the girl, the woman child, Ivanka, is that her name? Ivanka. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that she's committed some crimes too, but she's been very crafty with what she's been doing. So I don't know if she's going to be easily convicted for the stuff that she looks like she's done. But she made over $30 million a year over average over the 4 years of Donald Trump's presidency, trading on her father's name. Nice. Nobody talks about that. You don't hear any Republicans talking about that. They're talking about Hunter Biden made $5 million or something like that, but they can't trace anything that shows that. But you can look at the income. She's not working. It's not like she was putting in 9 to 5 at Macy's.
So wait a minute. Let me just ask. You say she was trading. She was
trading on her father's name.
Commodities.
No, not that kind of trading. I mean, she would put the Trump name on stuff. She would go to people who were the owners of department stores and retail outlets and say, I'm Ivanka, I'm the president's daughter.
And of course,
be good if you'd carry some of my stuff, and I need to see about 10,000 worth of sales, from you.
Okay.
Right. And they'd make that happen.
Yeah.
Just like you see these people write these books, and then you get all of a sudden 200,000 people buy these books. Good and well, these people aren't reading these books. They're just using this as a way to feed money to the person who wrote the book to help finance that person's campaign.
Isn't what she was doing is just basic, just like when somebody the word escapes me now, but trying to get a job and then you use your father's name.
Right. Patronage.
Pardon me?
That's patronage.
No, it's another word that I'm looking for.
Nepotism?
Nepotism.
Okay.
Okay, so on the strength of nepotism,
nepotism is illegal too. But
oh no, I didn't know. See, that's what I'm saying.
Right, it's illegal too. But the point I'm making is, I'm not trying to judge Ivanka Trump. Yeah. That's not my point. My point is that Donald Trump has done things beyond the issue of trading on his name, or getting people to do favors for him because he's, the man. He literally took votes away from people who had cast their votes. He denied people the ability to vote. He had literally had his players take voting machines that were used in the November 3rd election, or 2020 election, take those machines to a private company, Cyber Ninjas, wherever they're supposed to be, and let them manipulate the machines and play with the software on those machines. And then tried to give the machines back to the Georgia Board of Elections to be reused in future elections. Those machines had to be destroyed. They could never be used again. Right. And I mean, there's just so much more, to what Trump has done. So here's what Vance is saying. She said, in the past, there has been speculation that Trump can't possibly go to prison as a former president because it would be too difficult for the Secret Service to handle. She says, but the reality is we all watched January 6th on national television, and we now have a defendant in a criminal case who has not made any remorse for his conduct. In fact, he has doubled down on his conduct. He is, in essence, vowing to do more and to do worse if he's given a second term, as we have seen in the recent reporting about his 2025 plans. So she says, and so the courts are faced with a stark decision, holding him accountable or letting him almost certainly try to get away with what he did in his first term in his second time around. She's saying that's not going to happen.
Yes.
Judge Tanya Chutkan, that's not going to happen.
She ain't going for it.
If this player is convicted, that's just tough for him. He's going to jail. She says there are prisons that they have in the federal prison system that are designed, if you only can accommodate one person in that section of the prison, they got that already.
And we already know that.
Right? And he don't need internet. You in prison. You need an internet for it. I mean, if it's up to me, you'd get 45 minutes a day of yard time, and it would not even be in the yard; it'd be in the back someplace,
Yes, sir.
Because it's just, I mean, why put our country through all of this mess? You got money up the yin yang. There's no reason for you to put us through all of this nonsense and embarrass. I mean, he's an embarrassment to the country. People are laughing at the United States because of him. So, Mike, just a quick note on this. Michael Chapman wrote an article referring to this issue with Trump. It was written in the Raw story. He says the latest hit former President Donald Trump took in the federal 2020 election interference case is a decisive turning point in his legal struggle that spells disaster for him, according to Jennifer Rubin, who writes for the Washington Post. She says Trump last week lost a bid to have his case thrown out on presidential immunity grounds. And what this means is Trump had been arguing as one of his various defense strategies. He was been arguing that as the president of the United States, he had immunity. So by immunity means that anything he did in the course of his presidency cannot be charged with a crime for it, even if it was just an open, out-and-out crime. He still can't be charged for it because he's immune. He had something called presidential immunity.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much you all read the Constitution, but I carry a copy of the Constitution around with me all the time. I don't find the word presidential immunity in the Constitution at all. There's not a single word in the Constitution that says anything about presidential immunity. They're just inferring that. Just like, somebody in the Justice Department in the 1970s claimed that a president could not be charged for a crime because it would interfere with his ability to do his job as a president. I assert that if you're a criminal, being a criminal is interfering with your ability to serve as the president of the United States.
That's right.
So why would one interference be banned and the other interference be okay? That doesn't make any sense to me. But, that's these very talented people, smart people that have ruled in this country. Rubin highlighted what she called a particularly important section of the ruling by Judge Tanya Chutkan. She said, quote, "The Constitution's test, structure, and history do not support that contention, that no court, that immunity contention." She says, "No court or any other branch of government has ever accepted it, and this court will not let it hold."
All right.
You will not be able to play the immunity game here. So she says, whatever immunities a sitting president may enjoy, this is Tanya Chutkan, Judge Chutkan. She says, the United States has only one chief executive at a time, and that position does not confer a lifelong get out of jail pass. She says Chutkan has dispensed with Trump's bogus First Amendment claims, holding that he is not being persecuted for speech. He's being prosecuted for attempting to overthrow the election of the United States. Speech in furtherance of a criminal activity is not protected under the Constitution. She also said that Trump's claim that his impeachment in 2021 gave him double jeopardy protections. You can't try somebody twice for the same thing.
Right.
She says that doesn't count, and she rejected the idea that the laws in questions were too vague for a president to understand. Trump actually argued that the laws about presidential conduct were so vague that he wasn't, not everybody else, but he wasn't able to understand what those laws meant. She said, if you don't understand the English, nasty break. We understand the English, okay?
Yeah. Right.
You're going to have to fall. All of this comes amidst a parallel decision of an appellate court dispensing with the idea that Trump has immunity from civil lawsuits. So the cases that are in New York right now with Attorney General Bragg, that's the case in New York City.
Yeah.
He can't claim relief from that case either because he tried to say he had immunity from those kind of cases.
So no precedent has been set
at all.
So
okay?
Yeah.
You are if you're convicted of a civil crime, you fall for that crime. You're convicted for a criminal action, you fall for that crime.
So
you
with
don't
that,
get off.
they're gonna hit his pockets too, huh?
His pockets, but they're going to hit him while the jail doors is swinging behind him. She says the effect of the ruling is a devastating blow to Trump's attempt to evade accountability. According to Harvard law professor Lawrence Tribe, he said the ruling has shattered the last hope of the former president for avoiding the fate of running for the presidency as a convicted felon. She says Trump's strategy to forestall justice by recapturing the presidency looks more like a pipe dream than anything else. I really agree with that assertion. So we got a lot of stuff that we didn't get we left on the table in terms of the mess that Donald Trump's presidency has left this country in. It's going to take a while to sort out all of the things that Trump has disrupted that have been the sort of common law structure of how administrations operate in the United States. All those things have to now be rethought, and things that were done based on common culture are going to have to be put in writing so that we don't have this situation that we had this time where Trump said, well, that looks a little bit vague. I'll just not do that. Or this is something that you're not supposed to do. I will do that. You know, he's picking and choosing, you know, what he will obey and what he won't obey. That's going to require, you know, some constitutional scholars doing some work to repair those procedural deficits that we have in our country. I appreciate all of you listening to us and supporting us. We really look forward to talking to you all on Friday here at Living for the People at 91.3 FM WBNY. We'll see you all then.